Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo, and today we're going to look at Age of Galaxy. Not Age of Galaxies, Age of Galaxy, one of them. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what's inside this little box. We're going to look at it, not inside, but let's look at the solo mode. I'm going to show you how it plays, and then give you my thoughts on it. So, let's take a look. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and if you have, I do really appreciate that support. Thank you so much. So the first thing I'll show you is that this is what the game looks like once you've had, once you're beginning your fourth turn, okay? And there are literally 5 turns in this game. If there's one thing I want to talk to you about, it's that this game is quick, it's short, it's compact. There are limited actions, and so you're trying to do what you can with a limited number of actions to get a high score. And that was something that kind of struck me as different when we started because there's just not a lot of time. So you have to really focus on what you want to do and try out a strategy and see how it goes for you. Now, with this game, you can do several different actions, okay? So there's actually a whole host of them up here that you can play cubes. Every time you do an action, you have to play a cube. And normally you'll have 3 cubes to play per turn, unless you start a golden age. And that is one of the things that can happen when you fill up the trade areas in here. These things come back down, you get the cubes back, and then you can start that, that golden age. And that'll give you more actions on the next turn if it returns to you. Now you can see I haven't focused too much on those because I'm trying a different strategy this time, but I think that probably it's important if you want to score well to get some of those out there. So we'll see if I can pull it off before the end. Now it is a 4X style game, so to speak, but I would say it's kind of a 4X in abstract concept, really, because what you're doing is you're going to be playing cards, of which I've already played 3. Actually, I've played 4 over here. And those will kind of establish your powers and where you can colonize and your focus. So the main one I played was this one at the beginning, and I actually should have it over here just so that I always remember it is my central focus. And that means at the end of the game, I am going to score for this category for a bonus, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But that will shape the kind of thing you're trying to do. Also, you have these technologies you can research, and I've gone heavy on defense because of the way of the nature I'm trying to play against the solo bot who has all the technologies researched, and they continue to get more and more of these ships, which makes it harder for me to defend my planets, and I don't want to lose them. You can colonize the planets by basically paying money for each colonized planet you already have. So the next one I colonize, for instance, I'd pay $4 or 4 money or whatever. And then I would go ahead and I would put a cube on the planet and immediately get the reward depending on what it is. However, in order to do that, you have to have the affinity of the planet on these cards. And you can also play like a temporary card if you want to have an affinity, although I've already got these in here. Now you draw 7 cards at the beginning of the game. They do give you a mulligan to mulligan 3 and discard 3, pardon me, and bring a couple more to play. And so that helps you deal with the kind of cards and getting too much of one thing or another. And the cards you play also will give you bonus, depending on how you play them. They could give you some ships, they could give you some gold. Like I said, these give me all these access to these different abilities. But after you've played 3 main ones, you're pretty much playing them only for either a change in the focus. Like for instance, if I want to change it to this focus right here for my in-game scoring, I could play that under my main card, or you play it for that temporary ability to colonize or for the temporary income of that one thing. And so a lot of what you could do and a lot of variety in this game comes from these cards because they show you where you can colonize, what texts or what research things you get, and you know, what special abilities that you can unlock. Now, yeah, these technologies also do a little bit of that, but they're always the same every game you play. And the trade tokens are a little bit different. There's 5 in the actual box, but you only play with 3. And you're always going to have this one out here where you can nominate and where you can explore. Okay, so what else can you do? Well, you can, like I said, you can trade. In order to trade, you will spend a certain number of these influence points and those will then give you a reward, and you put your cube up there. And or you could spend like this, for instance, 7 gold and get 2 points. So there depends on what you want to do. There's ways to trade. There's scavenge, which is basically just lets you put a cube in here to get $1. So you kind of do that if you're really struggling. There's retrieve, which lets you pay $3, put a cube here, and flip over one of these little tiles to its relic side, and that gives you 1 point at the end of the game, or maybe more depending on what you have going on. You can, let's see, so you could explore. So explore is not written on here. It's one of the actions up here. And you basically will take a cruiser and you will discard the cruiser and flip this over and get the bonus. Okay, so these bonuses, actually it's over here, I guess you could say. These bonuses could be a relic in 2 of those critical discoveries, or $3 in a critical discovery, or 4 critical discoveries. And those you use for various things, but mostly for research. So now this is your score track, tracking different points you can get throughout the game. And at the end of the game, you will then score for other things, like I said, for colonies and for developed colonies and for the bonus that you have. All right, so let's play. Really, I'll show you the end of the game because we're getting pretty close. So what happens is, on your turn, you're always going to take 3 of these cubes, okay? And then you're going to get gold equal to your production level. So I'm going to get 3 gold. Then you're going to drop your production by 1. Then you can activate these abilities in any order. So I have this ability over here that says I can gain 1 of my defense ships over here for every one of these developed colonies that I have, and so I can gain 1. And that's all I have there. Now I have 3 actions to take, and then we're going to flip cards over and see what the opponent's going to do. The opponent is not scoring points in this game. This is a score attack game out of the box. There are scenarios and other things you can do to set specific goals, but that is what you're going to be doing here, is that I've set it up for, is just a high score. But he basically denies you different things, okay? So what do I want to do? Well, I've got 3 cards I can play, and I want to try to do some of that trading, because I do know that if I can get some trading done, I'm going to be in better shape at the end of the game, if at all possible. So let's see. Well, first, let's do this. Let's research this technology, because this will help me with my trading. So I'm going to research, and I can go this way to do it. Oh wait, I need some more. I need some more of those. So I can't actually do that right away. And one of the special abilities I have says that I get a minus $3 cost for any technology I research that he's already researched. So that was a really handy one to draw at the very beginning, because he's already researched everything. So I basically can research it for free. But I will do that, and I'm going to do that to do this one right here. So I get 1 on my production level, and then it lets me colonize one of these types of planets, which I will do right away. So I'll spend another turn colonizing that. That will give me another one here, and it will give me what I'm looking for over here. However, that'll cost me 1, 2, 3 coins, which is no big deal since I have a lot of those. All right, and then I have 1 action left. Now, if I'm going to probably have to ignore the trading, because I won't get my cubes back in time to do anything with it, because I wouldn't be able to fill it up. So it's not going to, I shouldn't say ignore, but it's not going to help me that much. However, I would like to score 4 points for at least nominating, since I've already done this. So what I will do is I am going to do that research of this technology here, the xenology. That'll give me 1 point. And it'll allow me to get 2 of these influence, which I'll use my next turn and final turn to at least nominate up here and get 4 points. And I was able to do that because once you've researched this technology, you can cross over and go up, as shown by this little arrow kind of thing. And that cost me just this because I have my card that says I get a discount. So hooray for that. Now I still have a card I could play. And probably what makes the most sense is for me to play this card right here to get a bonus ship. And I'll show you why if I can win the war, because I'd like to score for winning. Now he flips over his cards. So the first thing he flips over, it has a colonize one of the yellow planets. So we're going to colonize that one. Again, he doesn't score, he just denies me that. and then a science one. Well, he has really been going all out on these ships. So he has 5 ships, which is too bad because that will not let me be the warlord and win, which I was hoping to, because I'm going to be tied in all ways, and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, next thing, he has this one, which it says the opponent acquires 2 influence. After that, if it has 2 or more, it spends 3 to nominate. Darn. So it's going to actually get 3 total to nominate. So that means it's going to block me from getting that 4-pointer, unfortunately. So I was a little slow on the upchuck there. And then it's going to do the colonization of a green world, but there is no green world that I can see. However, there is one way up here. So normally you're limited to this spot right here, but because he has the hyperdrive or the warp drive spot, he can get to the further one. And these, when you begin the game, you only see the one that is actually, you start with just 2 of these flipped and the rest of them are hidden, but since I'm near the end, all of them are flipped. So he outsmarted me, so to speak, on getting these ships, and so we did not get to the warlord situation where I was able to score $1 and 1 point. Instead, we tied. So then we compare these shields. Well, both of us have the same amount of shields, so he beats me there too. And so in the case of a tie, I believe nobody gets anything, but I'll take a look. The real deal here, though, is that we don't want to have him win, because if he wins, he gets to take away 1 planet of mine and basically just take it from me. So let's see. So we talked about there. Yeah, it's got to be that war phase. I haven't had a tie yet, actually, a full tie like this. So compare the number corresponding. If tied again, both get the reward. Oh, okay. Well, then there's a bonus, so I get it anyway. So that's a point and $1. There we go. Okay, so that is the end of that round. So what we do then is we just basically move this up here, and we will move action cubes. If I had played any of these for manufacture, retrieve, or scavenge, they would have gone up. So you can get them up there too on each of these if you decide to do these actions, but I hadn't. So it doesn't really happen for me in that regard. And then we reset the player sequence for the next round, which we did. So basically here we're going to begin, and we'll do my final turn, and I'm going to get the 3 cubes. So you could see if I had a golden age round where many of these would come back, I would get a ton of extra actions to take and have a really big turn, which is important. I probably should have figured out how to do that. So I get $4 max out of 12. This goes down, and then I can activate this. Oh, by the way, I was able to keep 4 of these, but I have to lose 1 because you can only keep a certain number of ships based on the number of shields you have. Okay? Now he has 5, so he had to lose 1 also, but he can have a maximum of 5 in the game. He's not allowed to get any more than that, but he still has to dump down for the shields that he has. All right, so now let's figure out how we want to finish this up. So I do get to get that 1 back, so maybe I will be competitive here at this end. Now, I do want to nominate, so we're going to go ahead and spend these 3 here to at least take a cube, put it up here, because I have this condition already. I get 3 points, so that's going to be good. Then, looking at what I'm going to be scoring here. So here, I need to build more of these to score higher on the end. Now, if I had so this is where you think to yourself, okay, well, would it be better off if I was to score on the military side? And maybe the answer is yes, because I have 5 of these, and I only have 1 of those. So what I'll do is I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to switch this over here and move this down here, and that would allow me to make the bonus technology or the bonus path at the end for my 5 ships, which is good because we want to do that. And at least I'll get 5. I'll have 4. I might be able to do, no, that'll be, it'll be 4, which is more than I can do right there. So that'll be good. Now, even still, it's probably worth me finding a way. Oh, and I was supposed to get $2 when I lost the ship beforehand, but that doesn't matter because, well, I maxed out my money anyway. I will do the development action over here, which will cost me just 6 because of this discount. So I'll take, it'll be $6 right there. But when I do the development action, I also get 2 extra ships and I get an extra production. And then I have enough again, and so I'm going to do it maybe one more time, unless I want to colonize. Colonizing doesn't really do me much good. I might as well spend the money since I've really focused my way on developing, so I'll spend that last 6 and develop again. And it really doesn't matter, so to speak, which I develop, and that'll give me a little bit of that. So I'm definitely going to be the warlord on this one. All right, so those are it. That's my turn. And now we're going to go ahead and see what he does. So he is going to use the, he's going to remove the leftmost one of these. And he builds and denies on the white planet. There are none. And he's going to remove the left one of those again. There are none. And the red. He's going to build in the red. Okay. And then that's the end. So now, oh, well, not yet. We got to do war phase. So I'm the warlord here, but his planets are not protected. So what you could do if it mattered, but it doesn't really matter in this case, is that I could go ahead, if this was like a multiplayer game, is I could take one of his planets away from him, and because he has way more many planets than he has ships, and I could just basically block him out of there and put a ship down, and that would be it. All right, so that would be a denial mechanism that doesn't really happen or matter so much in the base score attack of the solo. Okay, so I'm done, and let's go ahead and score this. So I did, I won the warlord spot, so I did do that, or I should do that, and I get this. And then we basically see where the rest of it is. So taking a look at the points, so this is worth 7. So I've got 7 points here, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't have any relics. My major ideology, oh, and I lose all these, unfortunately. So I said 14, and then I have 4 more, which is 18. And then that's pretty much it. So I scored 18 points, which was not the greatest of showings compared to what I've done before. Yeah, that's the deal. All right, so 18 points. So that's kind of a beat your own score. I clearly could have gotten more had I had more turns by doing some of this trading. That would have been smarter to do. Next time I play the game, I'll want to focus on that. All right, so I'll tell you what I think about it. Okay, so that was Age of Galaxy from a solo standpoint. So here's my thoughts. Number one, the game doesn't necessarily blow me away, but it is fun. Once I've figured out kind of what I'm dealing with, which is a very tight, very constrained, quick game, so to speak. I think that the score attack is going to be okay to learn the solo, but I think the better thing is going to be to try to accomplish the different scenarios. There are 5 scenarios. I think that's, and I haven't played them yet, but I'm going to guess, just reading them and looking at them, that's where I'm going to spend more of my time playing this game because I like working on those conditions. That being said, I didn't do very well in this solo game right there. When I played it previously, I did much better. So it definitely depends on how you're playing, on what you're doing. There is a little bit of randomness based on how the solo opponent is going to work with its cards, which is good because that simulates the differences in regards to what an opponent's going to do. You're not going to know what the opponent's going to do, so you really can't plan for it. And you could see, like, for instance, in this game, he had a lot of ships and he was working against me on the ship side. In the previous game I played, he didn't have very many ships at all. I had no problems with that. I could keep just enough ships to guard my planets and not have to worry about it. And even I didn't have to do that half the time because he wasn't getting the warlord. He wasn't racing before. He was focusing on other things. So he did more stuff with the nominations and did more stuff with the, blocking me from cities and things like that. So there's a little bit of that there. But ultimately, I think the game is very constrained, and that is it's a good thing. And it's also a thing that's not going to blow you away either. Like, the most interesting thing about the game is the different abilities you get with your cards and how you play those together. because that will shape your strategy and what you want to do, and you can kind of put it together. I'd say from that standpoint, the game is very strategic because you kind of have most of the information you need when you start to figure out, okay, let me try this specific strategy and see how it goes, versus a tactical affair where it's just like, well, I'm catching cards and I don't really know. You get all the cards you want at the beginning. And based on that strategy, I think ultimately the scenarios are going to be the most fun from the solo side. So that's what I think. I do think that the rule book could have used some more examples and some more clarifications. I know people criticize the rules, and I kind of agree. I had to read these rules, and it's a small rule set, but I had to go in here way more than I should have for whatever reason. I don't know why, it just didn't stick with me well enough. And maybe it was that I just needed some more examples or some things, and they did put an FAQ in the back, which is helpful for sure. But there were just some other things. The other thing is the solo was really, they put the solo on this card and this card only. And that's okay, but it didn't really clarify some things. Like, for instance, what if the solo player draws a card and none of the actions can be done? Maybe there are no planets, and the one thing like remove the leftmost counter. What if there is no leftmost counter? So do you redraw? Do you do something else? Those are stumbling blocks for somebody like me who is an OCD gamer who wants to know. Maybe someone's like, well, whatever, I'll just do whatever I want and that'll be it, and that's no big deal. But I could have used that. That would have been helpful, I think. Anyway, I do like the game. I think it's very strategic for what it is, from the smallness of it. And that is the part that I like. If this was just purely a tactical affair, I don't think I would enjoy it as much because there's so few turns. There's not enough time to deal with the swings. Here, you gotta be very focused. You gotta be very direct on what you want to do and see how it goes. And you'll definitely play this game in under 30 minutes, including setup. So it sets up pretty quick. You can play it pretty fast, and then you take it down. So it's a micro experience, I would say, which is just fine. So that's what I think about it. I hope this was helpful for you and helpful to you to see if this is something you're interested or something you're just going to let sail on by. Anyway, regardless of what you decide to play in the future, I really do hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.